All right, so here's another video. I'm at the parole office, and I just heard Todd Hall's voice. When I went he said he used a deep gay voice to overcome, like, to harass me for like hesitating to speak. So Todd Hall is an implant using harasser, and it's sexual in nature because he wants me to have sex with gay people, so he looks good to the socialists who are going to help him continue to succeed by adding a gay community member to a heterosexual person who turned into a gay person into his family. So if he follows those steps, he can get socialists who are really gay to accept him as one of the socialists who managed to turn a straight person into a gay person. That's Todd Hall. And he just used an implant to electrocute my left ear and say, "Ugh," when I hesitated to speak a second ago. But it's implants. It is an implant. And no, I don't think about Todd Hall. In fact, at this point in my life, I wouldn't care about Todd Hall at all. I wouldn't even remember who he was. I think he would have been a past memory. I swear. It's been over maybe 10 years since I seen him. I think so. Well, no, that's a lie. That is a lie. Todd Hall keeps popping up randomly, like a gorilla out of the bushes, to see how I react to him. He's done it 2 or 3 times now. I seen his son for the first time about maybe a year ago or 2 years ago. His son was in the backseat of a car. Todd Hall made a right turn down the street, and his son was sitting in the backseat of his car. And then, what other time? Todd Hall was wearing a full mask in downtown Madison. It was him. I could tell his stupid little forehead. A mask with his stupid forehead and his stupid hair coming out the top. I knew it was him. And the other time, crap, I can't remember. They just stopped me from remembering the 2 or 3 times I've seen Todd Hall in the 10 years since I was willing to see him, to meet him somewhere. So no, I don't think about Todd Hall. I think about weightlifting. Well, I think about every single day. I dream of weightlifting. I dream of being able to lift weights with gravity, by weightlifting, increasing weight in the same area, so that I can control the energy, all the energy I produce, all the weight you gain. So as you gain weight, you gain size with modern weightlifting. That's because you spread the weight out. If you spread the weight out, your body keeps thinking, hey, the weight is in a larger area, so I have to get bigger so I can control weight in a larger area. But if you don't spread the weight out, the weight is now in the same area. Your body doesn't think, I have to get bigger to control weight in the same area. The weight's in the same area. So I'll just keep working harder. So now as you increase weight, you increase control of that weight. You increase your ability to control weight. It's incredible, right? It's an incredible advancement. If you manage to control the weight on the bar and prevent it from spreading out, you can forever get stronger, get faster, build stamina, and you will turn into an incredible human, improved human beings. And that's what I think about. That's where my journey is heading. But Todd Hall needs my journey to head towards the gay community so that he can get something in return. Well, he can get something from another group of gay people who turn little boys and little girls into gay community members. If he could manage to turn somebody like me into a homosexual using grooming tactics, psychological abuse, or financial abuse, or withhold energy, intelligence, currency, emotional support, any forms of energy from his corner, if he could withhold those things until I choose to have sex with gay people, then he wins. He gets a reward. His reward is continued success from the gay community. And I guess to make me look like a liar, they may hand him continuous success, but it's really shorthand success. It's not the success he wanted. The big success he wanted was to be in the White House, to have sex with celebrities, to have sex with politicians, to have sex with to be historical. He wanted his place in history. He didn't want people to forget who he was or that he didn't exist, or he wanted to cement himself in history. But the retard had his key to history standing right next to him. If he had chosen to help the child he was sent to help, that child would have returned all the help he gave to the child back to him. That kid would have found energy. And if Todd would have did his job, would have helped this kid the way he was supposed to, Todd would have his place in history. He went to school to be an engineer, and just so happened the child discovered energy, an energy that would improve every single person in the world. If some engineer discovered a way to manipulate weights in a weight room to improve every single person who wanted to be stronger. But Todd Hall decided to turn that little kid into a homosexual and to try his best to stop that child from growing up into a man that would keep him out of history, a gay history, the history of people that's created if you do what you're told. If you turn somebody into a homosexual, Todd Hall would have been a part of the gay community that created history, an illusion of history. Just made things happen for people in order to get them to do what they say. Turn little boys into homosexuals. But I'm going to keep telling. I refuse to have sex with gay people. I refuse to have sex with gay people. Todd Hall is a rapist with implants. So all you gotta do is put implants in infants, electrocute their genitals, electrocute their anus, electrocute their ears, and nobody will believe the child when they're telling you, my genitals are being electrocuted. My anus is being electrocuted. I am hearing people talking to me like they're on a cell phone. And those people are participants. The truth is the implants are too serious to acknowledge that you allow these things to happen. So that child is going to suffer before anyone ever admits that that child was or is being sexually assaulted with implants. And I'm not that smart. I'm not smart enough to come up with a way to commit rape and get away with it. I'm not that intelligent. I'm not smart enough to come up with this stuff. I am telling because it is happening to me. So somebody else took a lifetime to discover a way to do the things I said. I took a few days to discover I should tell. Yeah. And what's funny is that the people around you, if I heard something like this, I'd start telling. I would immediately start telling everybody I knew. Because it makes sense. And I know the person telling me this isn't that smart. Isn't capable of planning out a way to harm people and get away with it. All right, so no full-time Brown and Wilbert driver. It started 6, 15, 24, 7 to 3:30 p.m. Bi-weekly pay rate $27.36. Madison. No, it's in Sun Prairie. Graduated. No. 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 Yes. Yes. I still being harassed in person and with implants from people in the gay community. I don't know today's date. I should know, but the 8th. Yeah. Thank you. Oh. I think it's at 11. But I hope someone who watches this is actually thinking, thinking, and telling. I think thinking and telling are the two tools that anyone should use to discover the truth. Especially one that's scary. It's probably very scary to do the right thing. But I chose to tell. Regardless, you're not going to leave an implant in my body or be electrocuting my genitals and ears and anus and telling me horrible things every day about my past, about my present, about my future, in hopes that I choose to do what you say to stop the terrorism, to stop the electrocuting my ears. Like they're burning my ear canal right now and squeezing, like contracting my ear. So it's like it feels compressed, like hardening my ears. And it's a pedophile's turn on. Pedophiles like to play with ears because they think it has it's like an infant's ears. So some adult male gay person thinks a 33-year-old man, me, I am a child. And as a child, and if I am a child in his mind, he can play with my ears like I'm a little boy and use the implants to do it.
Kenneth?
So the pedophiles use implants to terrorize people at a distance. So what you do, if you can't get the kid in your house, you put an implant in their bodies, and you can electrocute their body parts when they're across the country.
Oh, okay, sweet. I'll go.
And then you can flash an image of yourself in front of their eyes, so that they get upset, or they know it's you. Or
your stuff is in here.
And they can hear your voice. They can hear you talking to them like you were talking to them on the cell phone, but they can't hang up the phone. They can't put the phone down and turn it off or do anything to do anything that would turn the phone off. So they use so the pedophiles like to use implants. Implants can do what they can't do and get away with it. So I chose to tell that somebody is doing bad things and how they're doing it and why they're doing it. And it should work. It's supposed to work. I shouldn't have to wait for help. And they keep telling me it's because we're afraid bad things are going to happen to a lot of people. That's what the people using implants tell me as the purpose, as a reason for the cause. There's justification that there's no assistance. And they just told me no one believes there is an implant in your body. And then they said it's a difficult thing to to imagine. And then psychological harassment. So if you're speaking and you see somebody nod their heads like in the background or the corner of your eyes, it's like you're telling the truth, but someone is trying to psychologically harass you to make you believe you're not telling the truth. Anyways, when that happened when I said no one believes there is an implant in your body, and that guy nodded. So I'm not smart enough to come up with the idea for an implant. I'm not intelligent. I don't think this stuff up daily. What I do know is to repeat what's told to me, or to repeat what I see, or repeat what I hear, and that doesn't require too much intelligence. Puppets or animals can repeat what they see or hear. So it was stupid. I mean, all people had to do was tell that you put implants in people and you satisfied some people, and the people who refused to willingly have sex with you, you tortured and raped them. So the majority of people who like these things, who need the implants, or who prefer not to work to go on a journey in life, would prefer the implants, the satisfaction of whatever a larger group of people give them.
Oh, churros? Okay, cool.
Then
Anything else on you? No?
then
All right.
then if people are satisfied with implants, they don't work hard. They'll cheat. So they take a test. Instead of studying for the test, they'll just let somebody tell them the answers. So, or instead of working to get a good job, they'll just know ahead of time, I'm going to get this job before somebody gives it to me. And or if they don't like their natural development, they can use implants to increase whatever like facial features they would like. If you want more hair to grow on your face, you can use the implant to grow hair on your face. If you want larger genitals, you can use the implant to grow your genitals. If you want to improve electricity, like a sexual stimulation while you're having sex, you can use implants. If you want to talk to somebody secretly and get away with a crime so that no one understands how two people committed a crime together, if they don't have any communication with each other, use an implant. If you want to stalk somebody and get away with it, use an implant. It's not difficult. All these crimes can be committed with implants. And the difficult thing is making the emotionless decision to put an implant in an infant. That's the tough call. Well, no, it isn't. It's a tough call for me. I've watched children be born on YouTube, on the internet. Sometimes they show a birth, the child right after birth, and I couldn't imagine being a doctor and sticking an implant in an infant. You'd have to be heartless or have a purpose that you feel is greater than the freedom of that infant. So someone chose that some children, maybe not all, or at least the very least the children of the gay community, would have an implant in their bodies to make sure the gay community continued to exist, whether or not the infants were willing to join the gay community as they aged. Which is why you have pedophiles. Pedophiles come into the little kids' rooms and they tell the children to have sex with them. I mean, I guess they're adamant about it because there's already an implant in that child's body. And if there's an implant in that kid's body, who really cares about the law? Who really cares about doing the right thing? So I guess that makes the pedophiles feel better or feel stronger. We put technology in your body, and there's absolutely nothing in the world that stopped us from doing it. Well, there's nothing. If I could do that, what's wrong with me having sex with you physically having sex with you? I mean, they broke that law. I can break this one too, right? And that's how you groom a child into thinking they don't have rights and they don't have a choice. And now you have someone willing to join the gay community against their will. Well, in the gay community against their will. They feel like they have no choice. There's an implant in their bodies. And they just told me in my ears, and that's our defense. Somebody just told me in my ears, that is the majority of their defenses. But I told them I tell you and them, the country only protects the brave. You have to be brave in order to you have to be brave in order for America to have rights protections. So being brave is telling. So when you ask somebody, when you go to court and someone says, well, this happened to me, and the judge says, did you tell anyone? Well, then you don't get to be a part of a lawsuit. You never told anybody. You don't get justice because you never told anybody. The country protects the brave. The brave are the people who risk their lives to tell. So for the people who just told me that's their defense, you're not going to escape gravity that way. You were supposed to tell immediately. All right, I don't know what's going on. I'm supposed to have this meeting, be at this meeting already. I think they're wasting my time because they know I had to take off of work. So every minute is a lot of money for me. And now that I'm not at work, it costs more. So I'm gonna go see if she's gonna come. If I'm gonna get a pro.
Hi.
All right.
Thanks for waiting. We had a situation
Okay.
to deal with. Benjamin, my colleague Laura is going to meet with you. She'll be up shortly.
Oh, I'll put this on there.
Oh, sure.
So that it doesn't cut off. All right. All right. All right.
Take your phone.
Thank you. All right. She just stuck her tongue out.
Oh, my lip was dry. It had nothing to do with you.
No, nobody licks their lips like this. There you go. I don't know how to do it. How do you do it? That's how you lick your lips. You don't stick your tongue all the way out of your mouth. Like that. Can I turn your light on?
Oh, yeah. Let me do that. Thanks for the reminder. Get it
No one licks their lips
at
like
a
that.
medium
It's like this, I think.
height.
I don't know. How do you lick your lips? You know how to lick your lips. You just don't stick your tongue out like
You
that.
talking to me?
No, I'm talking to the
okay.
camera.
All right. Let's see. Yeah, we had a situation. I had to take somebody into custody, so we had to deal with that.
Oh.
So thanks for waiting. I know it's 1:15.
Oh.
And so let me get some updates here. So this driving position, this was one you asked me about, right?
Yes.
Let me just pull this up because, okay. So you said they offered you the job, and I guess I wasn't clear if you accepted the position. Brown Wilbert.
Yes.
And what's that job like?
It's full of it's a decent job.
Mm-hmm.
It seems pretty easy to work with.
Okay.
Easy job, but you have to carry vaults that people are buried into to a funeral. Well, to the gravesite.
Are you talking about like the concrete?
Yeah, it's like
vaults?
sometimes I think they're all concrete. Some are painted, some are not. And then shortly after you set up the funeral, the the casket arrives with the family,
Mm-hmm.
and you lower the casket into the grave.
That's what your job is?
Yeah. Lowering caskets into the grave, and then lowering the vault. No, lowering the casket into the vault, and then lowering the vault into the grave. So you seal the vault above the grave, and then you lower the vault into the grave,
Wow.
and
So,
then you
oh, go ahead.
go back to work. But yeah, they've been. I was hired as a driver, but I've been doing the work of a shopkeeper,
Okay.
or the shop in the warehouse work, which is I came to get commercial driving experience,
Sure.
not uh, warehouse work.
Right. So,
So-
you're doing less driving and
Yeah.
more warehouse work
Yes.
and working around.
Yeah.
A lot of people.
It's like someone is trying to stop me from fulfilling the purpose.
Okay.
I think somebody who's really smart is avoiding me finding purpose. It's like fulfilling purpose.
Mhm.
The purpose of my employment was to be a driver.
Mhm.
So in order to keep me out of that purpose, they make you do something you didn't intend to do.
Mhm.
So I guess the purpose is on one side of the warehouse,
Mhm.
and they have me on the other side of the warehouse where there really is no purpose for a commercial driver
Okay.
to actually be. There's zero purpose
Okay.
for having the license to drive commercial vehicles
Mhm.
if you're on this side of the warehouse.
Mhm.
And they're distancing me from the experience of a commercial driver every day. So as days go on, I keep learning less and less, or having opportunities to drive less and less. And it's the reason they hired me is because I had a license, a commercial
Mhm.
license.
Which they needed for that
So-
position. Yeah.
So they told me this, and then after I got hired, they changed the script.
Mm.
So without telling me that they were going to change the script.
So they didn't tell you
No.
pre-employment that you would be doing warehouse work.
No, he said 3 days out of the week you will be in the warehouse helping out. And then he said that's what he said. But then I get into the warehouse, and these drivers, they're working on driver duties. The majority of drivers don't do any of the warehouse work.
Okay.
So I'm watching the difference. So unless he planned on treating me differently than the other drivers without telling me, he didn't tell me. Okay, so he said what I told you, and then I came into the business and I started learning that drivers don't do the things I'm doing.
Okay.
And they've made it pretty obvious that most drivers do a separate set of duties.
Okay.
And so when he hired me, I expected that every driver would be just like me,
Mhm. Sure.
would be treated the same. But that's not the case. It's like either a totem pole, or maybe he planned on treating me differently from the beginning.
Okay.
Which you should tell him. You should like, hey, when you come in, you're going to be treated a little bit differently than the other drivers. You're not going to get as much driving experience. You're not going to get the same responsibilities as the other drivers. I want you to do what the shop guys do more than I want you to do what the drivers do.
Laying out those what their expectations are.
Right. That's what exactly. So purpose. When you're hired, you have a purpose. You have an expectation.
You need to know what you're getting yourself into.
Right.
Yeah.
And since he told me one thing and it turned out to be a different thing, or an absence of the truth. There's a partial truth that he left out. You will be treated differently than the other drivers. Mm-hmm. And that was the psychological harassment that I had to deal with every day, that I expected to be a driver or treated just the same as every other driver. Mm-hmm. But when I actually came to work, I started to be treated differently. I could clearly see the difference in the job responsibilities. Mm-hmm. And then while I'm at work, these guys are swearing, smoking, cussing, and harassing me. They either bending over and saying something very aggressively, and then bending over and pointing their butt at me when they think I'm upset. So you make somebody mad and then you point your butt at them, is what I've been learning from the other drivers. It's like harassment plus sexual harassment, and they hope that your anger turns into sexual act. I think like they want me to become a gay rapist. and they're behaving like that. So if I really made you mad and then turned around and bent over, pointed my butt at you, you have a target, or not a target, but like a thoughts about somebody bent over with their butt pointing at you. Is like a gay thought pops into your head, and you're angry, and then this image is referencing like a homosexual thing. Okay. So you put these two things together, close enough together, you hope that it triggers a response. Mm-hmm. So instead, I started telling. Sure. So those are what my coworkers are doing at work. Okay. All the time. One person threatened to throw my phone in the grave. One person told me kept swearing, saying the F word. Another person kept harassing me. So I was told to go to work one day and do things the way I would do it in the future. So I started to do that, and the person told me, hey, no, don't do that. Do it my way. And I just told him, you just said, start this job the way I would do it in the future. And he said, well, I want you to do it like this. And when you're on your own, you can do it your way. But then 2 minutes ago, you just said, do things your way and let me see how you would, basically, let me see how you would do things. Mm-hmm. And in 2 minutes, he didn't give me the opportunity.
He didn't give you the opportunity to do it.
Exactly. Which is the differences between each driver. They set up differently. The rules are the same, but they each set their jobs up differently. Mm-hmm. So you can't watch each person with a camera and say that they're doing the exact same things. I mean, the job is done the way it's supposed to be done. Sure. But the beginning to the end is different. I mean, people like to set up their equipment a little bit different than each other. And when I tried to do the same thing, they started harassing me and telling me, don't do it that way and wait until it's your turn to do it your way.
What when the coworkers threatened to throw your phone in the grave, what preceded that?
Oh, he said, I don't want you to record how to set up a funeral. And I told him I did this because you guys keep changing. I'm learning from 4 different drivers who set up things in 4 different ways. Mm-hmm. I mean, the end is the same, but you guys work differently. And you expect me to learn how each of you set things up individually. That's confusing. And then on top of that, I have to pick my own way of doing things from the 4 ways you guys are teaching me. So that's 5 different ways I have to learn how to do my job within, like, at any moment. At any moment, I could be told you're on your own. So I'm not going to work 5 times as hard as I'm supposed to. I'm supposed to learn one way to do these things, not 5 different ways. And it's confusing. And not being able to repeat what I learned the day before is also confusing. Right. Because I need practice doing the same thing over and over again. And they are changing the driver every day. So even the guy with the best memory would still be working 4 times or maybe 5 times as hard if he's trying to remember a way for himself as well.
And when you have a new driver every time, that driver does things differently?
Absolutely.
I gotcha. Okay.
So, and their equipment's in different places, their attitudes, their aggressions, their frustration, their personalities, all these things are all different. And it's like someone is tasking me with the responsibility of learning my job and learning accepting aggression, harassment as a part of work. And I don't think it's a part of work. I don't think an aggressive attitude or like even any form of harassment for any purpose is a part of work. So you shouldn't be training somebody if you don't have patience or you can't accept that they're unable to remember the way you taught them to do things 3 days ago. It's been 2 or 3 days since they worked with you, and they only worked with you for an hour. And it was very fast paced. Everything moved very quickly, and you weren't very slow with the teaching. So I told him, like, hey, I told one driver, I get straight A's, so I don't have trouble following instructions. I have evidence that I can do that very easily. It's not that hard. What you guys are doing is changing the instructions every day. And that makes things very difficult for someone to learn. Yeah. So he got mad and started telling me, go, like, you're a fucking waste or you're a fucking something, and told me to, you don't want to work or it's not that difficult or something, some nonsense. But when I prove I'm right, they get angry and they tell me, well, we do it this way. They're lying. They're just making things up and getting angry, so that a smart person would be afraid to continue to tell them that they are wrong.
So are you still working there?
Yeah, I'm still working.
And-
I don't have a choice. I applied to like 300 driving jobs,
Okay.
and the only driving job that accepted me was this one.
And this isn't even a driving job.
And I don't even drive. Yeah.
I guess where you're at right now with the work climate, the work environment. I mean, it doesn't sound like the people training you are.
They didn't want me. They wanted to get rid of me in 2 weeks. Instead of letting me work for them, they were trying to get rid of me within 2 weeks. Yeah. I guarantee it, because that's how they act when I arrive every day. They act like, why is he still coming back here? Or how the hell, what is his motivation to return to work? It's like you can see on their faces, or the shock, or the acting. They're actors pretending like he shouldn't still be here at work. And then they change things without telling me, or they talk amongst themselves like I'm supposed to be up to date, but I didn't hear anything that was said.
Yeah. When you get terminated from your jobs historically, I can't remember if I asked you this. Do you apply for unemployment?
Yeah, usually.
Okay.
I usually win.
So that's probably why they don't want to. I'm assuming that's why they don't want to.
Well, they expect that. They say, I think they're making up a story so that the day I do qualify for unemployment, I don't know when. It's like a numbers thing. It's like you had to work few hours in order to qualify. I think they know. I think the manager knows, the people I work with, they know exactly when I have made enough money to qualify for unemployment. And on that day, they'll probably say or do something that's really intolerant. Like blatant, obvious, intolerant. And I will complain to Chris, and then he will decide, we're going to terminate you. I don't think you and the rest of your coworkers are getting along. And since it's only you, I choose to terminate you. And then I'll apply for unemployment, and then I'll get it because they did something wrong. And they'll lie and say he's a bad employee or whatnot. But it's hard to imagine. It's hard for the unemployment people to imagine that's true, considering he showed up to work every day. He has it's impossible for someone to be incapable of doing this job. It's a recurring issue. These jobs are too simple, and there has to be another story here. The job is very simple, and you can make it harder by changing things every day, and not telling somebody. And I think, the harassment. I tell them about the harassment at work, and I think they believe me. I think they choose to believe that what I'm telling them is true. And instead of acknowledging the harassment, the companies have chosen to just terminate the person who is complaining.
Well, I mean, even just simple name calling it can be considered a form of harassment on the job. Yeah. I mean, you have rights.
Yeah, they don't want me to work there. I think someone doesn't want me to look good, look productive, look like a member of the community, or have success, unless I'm having sex with gay people. And I think that's the recurring thing historically. I keep getting sexually harassed at work. I keep having issues at work. And as soon as they're going to kill, they said if I do have sex with gay people, they're going to kill me. Because I was supposed to start having sex with gay people 30 years ago, the moment when I was born, like as an infant. And they say you can't go back in time. You can't go 30 years in the past and make up for all the history all the time you chose to not have sex with all of these gay people 30 years ago. So you can't go back in time and redo that. So if you choose to have sex with gay people, we're going to kill you. And then they're telling me with implants that we want you, if you want success, you have to have sex with gay people. So they're trying to crush me into this small area where I choose to have sex with gay people and then I get killed for success, but success and death. Something stupid like that. Okay. So my point is, the guys I work with are doing these things. And if I had started working at this company like I was a gay person, I would have had an initial experience for the last 2 or 3 weeks that is like you expect to have when you start working at a company. So instead, I chose not to have sex with gay people or show up to work like I was gay, and I had bad experiences ever since. And that's the history of my work experiences since I've been out of prison. People keep trying to encourage me to have sex with gay people at work, outside of work, and if I refuse, I have the worst experiences at work, outside of work, and these experiences are interfering with my success, my ability to succeed or look productive in the community.
And we talked about this before, how
Yes.
a driving position would be ideal for you because then you're working independently, essentially,
Yes,
right?
that's what I thought.
You don't really have to deal with a lot of people if you are doing the ideal driving job, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was just looking at our most recent job leads to see if anything stuck out.
Oh.
And this is a class, you'll have to remind me.
Class B.
Class B, that's right.
I keep applying. I haven't been applying to different places, but I fear I'll have the same experiences.
Well, they need to be transparent about what your duties are, right?
Yeah.
Your job description, you know.
And that it's the same as the other people you work with too.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's important. That's like a psychological harassment. You come in expecting to be one of these people, and then you're treated differently.
Sure.
Whether you tell that person up front, but they have to know that up front. You're not going to be treated the same as the other drivers.
Right. But I think just the simple fact that you they weren't transparent about what your job duties were going to be from the get-go, or even before you accepted the job offer, because you knew if you knew you'd be doing this and being in the warehouse so much, would you have taken the job?
No.
So, see, that's
oh no, that's
the problem.
Yes, it's yes and no. If I had known, I wouldn't be. I'm sorry, that's not true. That there was a differential treatment. I think that's what would have held me back. If someone told me that I wasn't going to be treated the same as the other drivers, or your position isn't going to be the same as the other driver. So you come in, you're not. I know you're a driver, and I hired you because you had a commercial license. And I told you you'd be